Baltimore City Police think they can stop crime if they can predict it. It sounds like maybe even science fiction, but it is an actual policing strategy that's gaining momentum.
The program was first launched in LA, then Chicago, and now it is about to be implemented here in Baltimore. So WMAR 2 News lead investigative reporter Brian Kubler traveled to Chicago and had exclusive access here in Baltimore to show us this new strategy and how or if it will work.
As daylight fades against Baltimore's Eastern District station, the blue glow of giant monitors begins to fill a corner room. Inside, the screens inform a bold new prediction. Police now think they can stop crime before it happens. This is what the Baltimore Police Department calls its new Strategic Decision Support Center. In addition to this one here in the Eastern District,
that's a drug war, that's an area charge, so I definitely want to add them to this one.
Okay. There is one in the recently renovated Western.
This is just a framework.
Commissioner Darryl D'Souza says these rooms will go live in June, and at full operation, will have police working alongside analysts to study the various streams of data from the department, combining existing data like CCTV cameras and past crime incidents with new tech like these freshly installed license plate readers on squad cars and eventually gunshot detection. All of it will then pass through a computer algorithm and predict what could happen next and, more importantly, where. The goal? To forecast Baltimore's felonies. Are you confident that it will work here?
I'm very optimistic. I'm a very optimistic person, period. But this center, it embraces technology, and that's one thing that's been missing in the police department for years.
If this technology is the missing piece, then it is here in Chicago where Baltimore saw where and how it could fit.
I'm absolutely convinced if they attack it like we did here in Chicago, they'll see positive results from it.
Superintendent of Chicago Police Eddie Johnson swears by what's called predictive policing. In early 2017, they built rooms like they now have in Baltimore. Since then, Chicago has shown consistent violent crime reduction month after month.
So every district that we've implemented it in, they've had at least somewhere between 22 and 30% reductions in gun violence.
This is Englewood on Chicago's south side, traditionally the most violent area of the city, not unlike the eastern or western districts of Baltimore. But this is where they began, where they started the predictive policing philosophy. And so far this year in 2018, the gains they are seeing are impressive. 55% drop in shootings, a 43% drop so far in homicides.
This is yesterday's and this is third watches.
And commanders say a lot of it is being in the right place at the right time.
The commander suggested 4 deployments for the day.
This is what they call the shooting brief inside the District 7 Strategic Decision Support Center. Here is where all of CPD's recent crime data for the district is presented. Then a computer algorithm figures in real-time camera and shooting data, crime statistics and trends for the area, even locations of businesses, roadways and weather. That algorithm, along with the aid of analysts, spits out hot maps for the next patrol shift. The red boxes you see on this day's maps are 500 square foot areas the computer identified as high-risk locations for the upcoming shift. Officers are then directed to make sure those boxes get repeated attention while on patrol.
All of us have that same philosophy, is smarter policing results in fewer victims.
Sean Malinowski is a deputy chief in the LAPD. He's the architect of this predictive philosophy who started it in Los Angeles, built it here in Chicago, and is now on the ground and helping its launch in Baltimore. While the way the data is shared and calculated can be complex, the concept is simple. This whole program is based on the concept that human activity is inherently predictable.
Yes, and it is. I mean, if you look at it over time, you can track month to month where the hot spots are, and if you animate that, you'll see it persists, it persists, it persists. All we're doing in this is try to get out in front of it
And not by flooding neighborhoods with police or mass arrests. Malinowski is simply asking the officers to be visible, choosing instead meaningful interactions with residents in the zone before the computer's prediction can become a crime.
When it's working in its best form, the officers respond to that. They'll spend 10 or 15 minutes having some kind of community interaction or investigating something in that area, and then the criminal is denied that opportunity to commit the crime in the first place.
The proof, Chicago says, is in its numbers, not just in Englewood, but citywide, as predictive policing is now being practiced in more than half of Chicago's 22 police districts. The early success is why former police commissioner Kevin Davis originally recruited Malinowski and his theory to Baltimore, and why Darryl D'Souza is about to implement it. D'Souza visiting Chicago and Superintendent Johnson just more than 2 months before its Baltimore launch.
I've also told them that the technology that we've implemented, that's one piece of it, but it has proven to be successful, so they cannot go wrong with trying it out.
Does Chicago's crime numbers so far this year give you confidence in this program?
Yes, it does.
Do you watch their numbers closely?
Yes, I do.
And D'Souza likes what he sees.
They got that guy, too. They got one of those guys.
Yes. Even from the dry run here in Baltimore. While both district rooms are complete, some of the technology is a month or so away, and analysts are still being trained. Still, for the commissioner, the forecast looks bright.
I'm very excited about it. I'm very encouraged about it, and I'm gonna remain optimistic.
That was Brian Kubler reporting. Really interesting. You know, some, though, not so optimistic.
Well, the issue is the whole system is built on trust, and the trust with the department and the people who live in Baltimore. The policing philosophy does have its critics. We're going to see whether it can work here. ABC or WMAR2's Brian Kubler has that part of the story, repairing the relationship between some communities and the police department. That's coming up tonight at 6 o'clock on WMAR2 News. We're back